and welcome to Chat with Kari. I'm your host, Kari Lane. Joining me today is the dynamic duo behind Lights, Karma, Action. They brought you the award-winning Dirty Chai, and now they got something for you that's out of this world. Welcome, Ruchi and Falcon.
Hello.
Hello.
I was like, puns galore. Come on, we gotta get that.
That was great. It is truly out of the world.
Oh, thank you. Yes, thank you. Welcome.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah. So as I was saying too, you have a company, Lights, Karma, Action. Tell me about that.
That's all you, Ruch.
Oh man, yes. It truly is. I think it was born during the pandemic. 2020 was just such an awful, just miserable year for all of humanity. And I think it allowed us to actually not hide away from our dreams anymore, because it was like, this is it. I'm done being miserable. I'm just gonna do what I can to be happy. And that kind of gave birth to Lights Karma Action for us. It's our husband-wife duo run production company, and we do projects from music videos to short films to theater, musicals, stage plays, and truly it's all about just uplifting our life condition, our life force, and just sowing those seeds of joy. So yeah, that's Lights Karma Action Productions.
Nice. Okay, so I gotta ask then, what's it like working together as a couple?
Oh,
you both have to answer on this one.
Yes. For me, I think it's like I've really had to learn how to self-reflect, and be a better communicator, honestly. So like, I think we've also been fortunate to have a number of mentors who have come into our life, Adam Marcus and Deborah Sullivan, for example, who are also this incredible husband-wife duo, and they make incredible content together. They're incredibly talented. Shout out to Skeleton Crew. So we've learned how to, I think, adjust. At the beginning, I think it was a big adjustment period, especially because, there's the husband-wife dynamic, and then there's the we need to make this thing and have a deadline dynamic. And also, last thing I'll say about this, and I'll pass it over to Ruch, is that we actually met while we were working, and I think that helped establish this kind of foundation of like, before we were ever sort of romantically involved, we were working well together, which kind of got us a little more interested in, I think, dialoguing with each other. I don't want to speak for Ruch, but at least for me, I was like, wow, like I can work with this person really well, and relationship stuff aside, I don't know that I had experienced that kind of working partnership before in that way, And so, so now, now that we've been together for some time, finding a way to fuse those two, like still maintain the love and care and compassion of the relationship. But then when it's time to get to work, it's business, Anyway, what do you think, Ruch?
Yeah, I was waiting for you to answer that. So depending on your answer, my answer would be either it's great or it is really, really not fun. No, I'm just joking. There is a quote from the book Little Prince that I'm going to paraphrase of, being in love is not two lovers gazing at each other, but gazing out into the world together. And I'm totally paraphrasing it, so I hope I don't butcher it. But, I think that really stuck to me. And it's manifested in our relationship, where the times that we get caught up in like truly just the, every relationship has issues and like karma comes up, and you have those things that your partner triggers in you. When we get caught up in that, I think it reflects in our work. But I'm so grateful that I share this goal of truly creating content that's uplifting, feeling like, okay, that's my purpose and mission. And when I'm not doing it, I'm going through depression. But when I am doing it, I feel like I'm creating value. I'm so grateful that I share that kind of perspective and, those goals with my partner, where truly, working with him is just like working with my best friend. Like, 2020, we were in our apartment, tiny apartment with our cat. I have an autoimmune disorder. So we were truly in lockdown. And so it was, we were working together, married together, just with each other 24/7. And from that, I feel like just the creativity and imagination that allowed us to not just survive those times but really thrive. I feel so fortunate and blessed, but it's a lot of work. It is hard work. Okay, it's not easy. I do want to, it's definitely, both of us, lots of challenges come up, but we face them together.
Yes.
Nice. Well, yeah, it's a business is a working partnership, and marriage is also a working partnership.
Absolutely.
Ideally, you would hope so. Yes.
Yes.
Now, speaking of making content, your first production, the part of Hollywood Fringe Festival, you have an award-winning show, Dirty Chai. Tell me about, how did that come about, and what was kind of the inspiration of, why make this story?
Yeah. So Dirty Chai was my, I think, second baby. My first baby is my cat. But no, truly, the inspiration. So I grew up in India, right? I moved here right after high school. I've lived here many years, and I truly consider myself half and half. Like, I have my Desi culture, I have my, Indian roots. And at the same time, I'm a very independent, rebellious woman who will not, who will follow my heart. So I think Dirty Chai was like the perfect way for me to kind of express that identity that I have. It was both cultures I've experienced great positives. There are great things I love about American culture that don't exist in the Indian culture, and vice versa. And I felt like Dirty Chai, just like the name, Dirty Chai is actually a beverage of chai with that you add a splash or two of coffee and it becomes dirty, and it's exciting and full of life and spice. And yeah, just like the name, I felt like I could just share all of my experiences in life of living in these two totally different worlds. But how can I, again, right, marry them? How do we cross that bridge or that cultural gap? Because honestly, we're the same in the sense of human beings are the same. The same things make us laugh, cry, scream, get scared, or excite. So yeah, Dirty Chai was kind of my experiment of like, I have a voice, and I just I'm done shying away from sharing that voice. And what's the best way I can tell those stories of millions of people that have had these, cross-cultural experiences.
And then, yeah. Falcon, you were part of the production. Excuse me, you were part of the production as well?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I was very fortunate to be a part of this project, I feel, because, from the very first draft, I share this a lot, but from the very first draft that Ruchi handed me, she was just kind of like, I don't know. I don't know, And when I took it, though, like when I read through the first draft, I was like, no, there's something really special here, And having been with her for some time before we made Dirty Chai, I personally felt that this was a story that had been growing in her for such a long time, And I think the proof of that was how quickly we were able to put it together, and like all of the protective functions in our environment that came together to support us, Adam Marcus again, came on to direct the show. And so, I was very fortunate to be a part of it. And, my role as Barista Joe in Dirty Chai allowed me to get on stage and, kind of, I don't want to say out of the pandemic, because I want to be very clear, we're still in a pandemic, but, to start to have things open back up and to be able to like open up on a stage where I'm rapping to people, that was just like an incredible experience, having gone through, so much challenge the past 2 years, during the pandemic. So yeah, it was just, when you say hip hop Bollywood musical, people's faces just light up, So yeah.
Speaking of hip hop Bollywood musical, and then Ruchi writing this and then being part of it, what was that like, seeing it come to life, a representation of your own experience, and then maybe an example of representation for the audience that they haven't seen before?
Yeah, the moment, like your question, the first thing that comes to my mind was our opening night. I built these beautiful backdrops, and that was essentially like our, behind the curtains, the wings. And opening night, I'm just sitting behind. I'm in my costume. I'm super nervous. Like I can hear people walking in, and Adam, our amazing director, is making his little introduction, welcome speech, and really sharing how the Indian movies and stories that we have seen so far are so limited, right? And this truly, I felt like hip hop Bollywood musical, like it didn't really exist in this platform, in this space, as he shared with the audience. And at that moment I had like goosebumps, as he did. And it allowed, because it was challenging, it was difficult. Like the first draft Falcon's talking about, yeah, I hated it, and I attached my worth so much to everything I was doing and creating, where in the beginning and maybe even through the end, it really, every moment I was doubting, what am I doing? Why am I right? This is pointless. No one's going to enjoy. And that, those were the moments I had to go back to, like, why am I doing this? And the most amazing, like, the answer to all of that doubt and frustration and confusion was that one moment, my first joke that I wrote in the script. It's with the mom, and the mom is just, Shai's mom is American, but she just considers herself full 100% Indian. She's more Indian than anybody else on stage. And when she came on and she delivered her line, like, the audience just started cracking up. And that was like the first piece of dialogue. And it was such a, what's the word, like sublime, like divine, like moment, where surreal. It was so surreal because I wrote that at 4 a.m. in my little tiny apartment, tired, sleepy, a little hungover maybe, and just like, and to see that come to life, and then the audience respond exactly what I had, thought they would. It was mind-blowing. It was truly mind-blowing. But I have to say that none of it would have been possible without our team. We truly, and Falcon was just like alongside every moment. He produced it, he read and gave me feedback on all my scripts. Adam Marcus, director, he came on. He's just this amazing person and human being and mentor. And all of our like cast, our media sponsors, Indian Film Festival, our promotional partners, even our tech director Shauna, like everything just kind of fell into place. And that's how I knew that it wasn't about me, it wasn't about the show, because of how magical things were falling into place, the puzzle pieces coming together. I felt like the story had its own purpose and place in this world. Yeah.
Well, then, as we were saying earlier, something out of this world, your new production together, Cleo Universe. Tell me about that. And then Falcon, you're directing this one and directing and acting? Yes?
Yeah, I'm doing the thing that you're never supposed to do, which is write, direct, and star in your own show, And actually we had a number of other friends who were involved with the project. I was wanting to bring on a female director, but various circumstances and people weren't able to join us, and so I'm wearing this hat as taking full responsibility for the show. And kind of what to Ruchi's point about the show isn't about me. Cleo Universe is written, directed, starring me. But you see my background here. I got all my friends in the background for that reason. Because these people are working so hard. We got Tina Vaughn, we got Nikki, we got Jude, then we got Frida, then we got me, Ruchi, we got CJ, got Jen Dees, Holly Kiger. So all these people are working so hard, and our fringe producer Martin Rodriguez from Flat Tire has really helped walk us through a lot of the Hollywood fringe stuff. Matt Quinn from the Asylum Group has been fantastic in making sure we get every communication. So I'm working as hard as I can because I see everyone else working hard. So Cleo Universe, it takes place in the year 3000, and Cleo witnesses his best friend get murdered by smart cops, who are like cybernetically enhanced cops. And this sort of launches him to the front lines of of having to save Earth, and pits him against the solar system's richest human, Maxion. So yes, this is Cleo Universe.
Nice. And then what was the inspiration? What made you go, I need to write this story?
You know, it's funny because I grew up in the hood, right? Like, but my dad always had Star Wars movies on repeat in the home, you know. So when I was in like the 5th grade, you know, I knew like every word to Empire Strikes Back. And this was before the prequels came out. So there was like this weird period, you know, during the 90s where like people knew of Star Wars, but like younger people weren't really on Star Wars like that, you know? And so when the prequels came out, then everyone was like, oh, Star Wars is amazing. And I was like, I told you, you know? And so, yeah, this story, I think, came from like experiencing kind of the violence that I did where I grew up. And then, you know, for me, my escape or my like comfort a lot of times was comics or was, you know, Star Wars films. And so I would just get lost in the lore of Star Wars to try and have a way to separate myself from my environment. That was like my I think coping mechanism at the time, you know. But you know, incredibly, you know, now I think I've been introduced to Nichiren Buddhism actually a couple of years ago by Ruchi. We practice, and so we chant these words, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. And the whole point of chanting these words is to bring out your inherent enlightened potential, you know, which we really feel that every single person has without exception. And so, you know, once I started chanting like this and started to develop this new sense of myself, I think I could look into my past and see all these things that used to be so challenging, you know, and used to really cause me anxiety or depression or, you know, whatever else. I have a number of mental health diagnoses as well, right? But because I've gotten to this place now where, you know, there's this saying in Buddhism where we transform poison into medicine, you know. And so for me, what I really took that to mean is all of these experiences that I've had in my past, all of the challenges, all of the violence that I've seen and gone through, I think I can take all of that now and make something positive and uplifting because I'm not the only one experiencing this. You know, sure, I've had experiences that are maybe more difficult than what other people have experienced. But the duality of everything is that there are going to be many more people who have experienced way worse, you know? And so the duality of that reality was something that I really was a motivation behind like putting Cleo Universe out, I think, you know.
And then for Ruchi, what was it like for you going from something a little more lighthearted, but, you know, still has depth to this production and now being an actor in it and producer?
Yeah, you know, honestly, I feel like they're very, so it's different genres, right? Like there's Hollywood Bollywood music, hip hop Bollywood musical, and then this is like total sci-fi like adventure story. But I have to say that they both have so much heart, and they both have like the same style of like we're gonna tackle some difficult, challenging things that normally you don't really talk in society that easily, you know, about like certain cultural gaps with your parents or you know, marriages and, you know, arranged marriage systems in India and like even relationships, right? And then with Cleo Universe, there's so much, you know, even like about death and those connections of like justice and fighting corrupt systems. But I feel like the thing that they both share is the use of comedy and humor in sharing, telling these, you know, challenging, difficult stories, or even those human interactions that we all have in our environment, but it's just like, you know, difficult. And so, yeah, so when, you know, Falcon shared his idea, I was totally actually blown away by it because, you know, I like sci-fi, it's great, but I feel like that genre in itself is just, you gotta have really specific, clear imagination. And you got to let your mind just go beyond what's tangible and what's here, and the details this guy has, I'm like, how do you even come up with that stuff? Like it's amazing, it's so mind-blowing. So yeah, to just come on board and like, you know, help make Falcon's vision and dream a reality is again something that is like it's exciting. It makes me really happy. And no, I'm playing Olive. She's, you know, this quirky, sassy engineer, and she just like doesn't take, anything, am I allowed to curse? Probably not. She doesn't, you know what I mean? She's like, she does her thing. And I feel like growing up in India where, it's a very patriarchal society, and my family was no different. I have to say I'm fortunate, like my mom was educated and always wanted me to succeed. And truly both my parents considered me their son, instead of a daughter. And they allowed me to do the things I wanted to do, did music, I played guitar, dance, like whatever, creatively. They really cultivated and nurtured those desires. So I feel like, Olive is, I really enjoy playing her because I feel like that part of me, that little Ruchi who's like, I'm not gonna take, anything from anyone and do my own thing. I get to truly now play that on stage, and it's amazing. It's fun.
And now, speaking of on stage, it's coming up soon. When and where can people see your show?
Yes, Cleo Universe will be at the McCadden Place Theater, and the dates are June 4th at 6 p.m., June 11th at 8:30 p.m., and June 19th at 4 p.m. So that's a Saturday, and then Sunday. And then after the 19th, we will also have a VOD option for anyone who maybe wasn't able to attend in person as well. I was just going to add that, having seen how hard Ruchi worked to put up Dirty Chai last year and the timeline that we had, and I had another project that I was also working on at the same time. And so, but seeing how hard she worked, so my time was like kind of limited, what I could do to contribute toward Dirty Chai. But seeing how hard she worked, and then of course, when IFLA joined, the Indian Film Festival of LA, as a promotional partner, and then Ruckus Avenue joined as a media sponsor, and then we got Cafe Mobile as like they were able to serve coffee after our opening show, actually Dirty Chais, when I saw that, I was just reminded how much we can like limit ourselves, just for me personally. I feel like I can often limit myself in like, oh, I have this big idea, but it's too big. Who am I to put on something like that? But seeing how Ruchi did it, and we packed the theater for Dirty Chai and then won these awards, I was so inspired and encouraged by my partner. And so, that was another major motivation that made me feel like I could even do this.
Aw, I was going to say, I'm like, yeah, Ruchi, how do you feel about that? All right, well, your show's coming up soon. No. Very exciting for you both. Break a leg. And thank you so much for talking with me about all your projects.
Yes. No, thank you.
Thank you so much, Kari.
Thank you, Kari. You're wonderful. I don't usually, I'm a very awkward person, and interviews always like make me go like, what if I say the wrong thing? But yeah, this was just so effortless and comfortable, and truly was like talking with a friend, and we are friends. So yeah, I just one unsolicited piece of advice for any creators and artists out there: don't get in your own way. I have done that for majority of my life, and I'm finally learning to step aside. So don't get in your own way, and don't shy away from the hard work. That's it, and you have it in you. Yes.
Nice. Well, I was gonna say, on that note, again, thank you so much for joining me, and everyone, thank you for watching Chat with Kari. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to click that subscribe button. I'm Kari Lane with Diya TV, and I'll see you next time.